may ano. What's up? What's up? What's up? We are back with another live stream edition of Love and Relationships. I am your host. It's your boy JD, aka Mr. December. And in the building, we got my boy RJ back with us again. Say something to the people, RJ.
Yo, what's going on, good people?
And we have a special guest. Very good friend of mine. We have Miss Antoinette. Antoinette, would you like to say something to the people?
Greetings, everyone. It's a pleasure being here tonight.
Yeah, and it is definitely a pleasure to have you with us. Listen, we're gonna have a great discussion tonight. If you're watching on the replay, I want you all to like the video, share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're live with us right now, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and let everybody know what we're doing over here in love and relationships. Yo, we just having a conversation, and I think we're gonna have a good discussion tonight. Are y'all ready?
We
Yes,
ready.
sir.
All
Let's get it.
right, y'all ready? Let's go to work. First topic of the evening: why are women choosing to be single? Why are women choosing to be single? We're seeing a lot more of this in our communities. I believe we talked several weeks ago on the show about a lot of ladies doing compound living now, kind of like what the Golden Girls did. That whole situation, y'all know that show, Golden Girls. So yeah, people are getting into women in particular are getting into compound living and sexless marriages too. So why are women choosing to be single in 2021? We're gonna start with the ladies. Ladies first. Antoinette, you wanna share your thoughts on that?
Well, of course I would. So, first, let's think about this.
Hmm.
So, in order to be in a relationship, you have to have balance, right? So, we're
Right.
looking at health, wealth, success, and balance. So, if I can't provide these for myself, there's no way in the world that I could provide it for nobody else. So let's think about this. So if we're the vessels that bring forth everybody, right?
Hmm.
Everybody comes from our vessels, correct?
Correct.
So if your vessel is off balance, you're going to be living in organized chaos. Nobody wants to live in organized chaos, not nowadays, not back in the days, and I'm praying not in the future.
Uh
So, in
huh.
order for us to have that balance and to provide for not just ourselves, but our families and our partner, because if our partner is off balance because of our chaos, I'd rather not deal with the drama. And then you have to think of all the outside forces that we're dealing with. We're dealing with all this brutality with our men and our women, whoever you choose to be with, but it's more of a security. And when we choose to be single, that's for security purposes. And that's not being selfish. That's because we need to ground ourselves. We need to heal ourselves. And that way we could be there with our full mind and body for everybody, not just ourselves. Because it's not just about us all the time, but we have
Okay.
to be that foundation.
Would you say that women choosing to be single? Are you saying that it's more of a temporary thing, or what? Or you think it's more
So
of a?
I think it's temporary. However, this temporary time, especially with this pandemic, is getting a little bit longer
Hmm.
because we're now starting to see everybody's true colors, right? So if we're in the dating scene, right, we get to know each other. But nowadays, nobody don't want to get to know each other. It's like either we gonna have great intimacy or we not. Because if we don't have great intimacy both on the cerebral level and the physical level, I'm not wasting my time. I'm gonna stay single and I'm gonna still play in the pond.
Hmm.
So it's definitely not temporary if you find that match. So it's just a double-edged sword right now.
Okay. We got a comment up on the screen, and he says, Adam, thank you so much for joining us. He says, why do people abuse their partners? Uh, what are your thoughts on that, real quick? And he says also it's a learned behavior, and I would also
Hmm.
agree with that as well. You want to answer this question real quick?
So what now, as far as with the abuse, are we talking about the
Yeah,
mental abuse?
any kind of abuse, really, because
Right.
I've experienced both in a relationship, and I don't think people really think about emotional abuse and
Hmm.
verbal abuse as much as we should, because again, like you said, it's a learned behavior, and a lot of people grow up thinking that's normal or that's something to
Right.
be accepted.
So that plays into the part of accepting therapy. Like
Hmm.
we all need to have that come to Jesus moment and be like, okay, I need therapy because this is a learned behavior. And I'm doing this because of the passive aggressive behaviors that I have experienced. And when
Hmm.
we have those truth moments within ourselves, then we're able to grow. So
Right.
you have to start having that get real talk with yourself because you're knowing subconsciously that you're dealing with these behaviors and then you're having these abuses, but you're not noticing it until everything festers and blows up.
Hmm.
And that's not healthy.
No, it is not healthy at all. Um, let's go to RJ. RJ, why are you thinking that women are choosing to be single?
Um, I personally think it's more of the society today. It's like women. Uh, if I think that women really don't need us to survive anymore like they used to. So some of the things that our grandmothers or great grandmothers would deal with these women, as far as like cooking and cleaning, something simple like that. Um, the new generation, that's kind of a negative connotation on that. So even something simple as cooking and cleaning, they would rather not deal with it and just be single and eat McDonald's and stuff because it's simpler. A relationship takes work. It's easier. It's easier just to be single, and even though emotionally it might take a toll on you to be single because you may see your classmates or whatever with a family and kids or whatever, and especially a woman that might play a part in their head as to say like, okay, maybe that's what I want because of instincts. Because I think internally we're all wired a certain way, regardless of the front that we try to put up. But I think it's just the society today. It's a lot easier for the modern woman. Um, any other woman, the modern woman has it better than any other woman in civilization today, right? So I think
You
it's
really
just
think? Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I
Well,
really think so, right? Because look, back in the day, right? I think everyone has it better. Um, uh, the tide rolls everyone up, including the modern women. You have voting rights, right? You didn't have voting rights back in the day. Um, right to life or whatever it's called, where my body, my choice. You do whatever you want, right? Um,
Mhm.
you got this whole agenda that's pushing female masculinity is what I call it. But
Mhm.
you mask it as female empowerment, but what it is female masculinity. It's like, okay, we want to be men, but we still want what we get as women, right? We want to be equal to you guys, but we still want to be women. And it's kind of it's kind of hard to explain, right?
It's
But I think
multifaceted.
right,
Yeah.
and it's just the society today, man. We've done so good at uh, making life easier, to where it's like women are just saying like, I don't need. I watched the whole podcast where a woman was saying we don't need y'all, and it's like as much as we want to disagree with that, they really don't. Women don't need us to survive, because look, they go out and get an apartment and live single. Get them some cats and dogs and live single and die. You know, the mental might be not all the way there because it's instinct. Internally, they still want that family, regardless of how you cut it up and down, sideways, or whatever. Internally, we are wired to want to procreate, reproduce, right? So, my thoughts get jumbled, but what I'm trying to say is the society today, right, has made it a lot easier for everyone, including women. So that's why they're choosing to, I ain't got to deal with that. Cooking and cleaning, catering you, that's toxic. I don't want to do that. So, just today's ideals have changed. And it's where we are, man.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what both of you all said actually. And Antoinette, I hope you got your notepad and your pen because I
You know I
saw,
do.
yeah,
You know I do.
I saw you had something.
Yeah.
RJ said you wanted to comment on, but just real quick, my thoughts on this why a lot of women are choosing to be single now is because, like RJ said, it has a lot to do with the society and the I don't need a man. And I also think that uh, women are choosing to put what they want on the inside, or in other words, their biological needs aside just to prove that they don't need a man. Because just like RJ said, we are wired and we have that desire to want to be a family. We're hardwired to want to be fathers, to want to have a legacy. Women are hardwired to have families and children, right? And I believe there a lot of women are choosing to put a lot of that aside due to the fact of they want to be able to fit in with this 2021 notion of I don't need a man, strong and independent. A lot of women are even saying these days, hey, we don't want men, period. You know what I'm saying? And that's problematic because where are our families gonna come from if we're not getting together, right? And then another thing, another reason why I think that women are choosing to be single is because of high standards, and sometimes let's just be honest, unrealistic standards. Because what I'm seeing and what I'm finding, especially by talking to a lot of women, talking to a lot of men, and doing the research on the stats and statistics, most women, not all, but most women want a traditional provider male. They want him to be at least 6 feet tall. They want him to make at least six figures. They want him to be attractive, and the average man in America is 5'8", and
I
the
was going to
average
give you
man.
7.
Say again.
I was going to give you 5'7".
Well, okay, that's what people would consider average.
Right.
So if you're wanting somebody, 6 feet tall and up, you're automatically going for a small percentage of men. And I don't think that a lot of women really realize um, what they're asking for. Now, if you're a lady and you're 5'10", I can understand you want to be with somebody 6 feet because you're gonna be 6 feet tall in heels, and you ladies like to wear your heels or whatever. I can dig it, but if you're 5'3", 5'4", why would you want somebody 6'4"?
The better
You
the
know what I'm
climb.
saying? The better the climb. I hear you. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I
But
mean,
and that's a smaller percentage of men, and then with the finance aspect of it, that's a smaller percentage of men. So now what you're wanting is your area is shrinking, right? And then the attractive piece of it, ladies of course want a man that's attractive to them. You know what I'm saying? I guess you would say somebody above average, in the looks department. But I did hear one female say that they like their men medium ugly. I don't know what that means, but yeah, she said she like a man medium ugly. Don't know what that means, but I think a lot of women are not willing to settle. You know, we've heard this notion of don't settle on what you want. You deserve everything. You know, you deserve a man that does this. You deserve everything you want. And really, what women are wanting is a very, very small percentage of the men.
So
Go
that
ahead,
means,
Antoinette.
I'm like, mm, 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 mm,
Hmm.
mm.
Come on
So
with it.
this depends on first age of the women that are being asked, and
Hmm.
then two, what has been their influencers throughout their years and different experiences, because what you're saying is um statistics and stuff that we've heard from years on end, right? But if you sit
Hmm.
up there and you talk to the gaggle of women at the bar, okay, or you talk to the gaggle of women that are doing the best friends paint night and this, that, and the third, you're going to find out right now at this point in time, it's not about wanting that 6 foot tall person. It's not about the unrealistic things and stereotypes that they want to put on us. It's about being established. And it's not about not needing a man. It's about needing that security and that comfort. Because at the end of the day, I know how to change my tire. I know how to rake the yard. I know how to kick the dog and pull them crops out the yard for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The point is, I don't want to do it because I want my man to do it. And I want my man to have the skills to do it. And this was a conversation that I was having with my mom, because back in the neighborhood, for all the families and the women that didn't have men around, it's like the junkies and stuff around the neighborhood would come by and help out with the cars and this, that, and the third, because they knew a man needed to do those tasks and those duties. And then they would disappear and come back and check in on you. So it's not that we don't need a man. We need that security and that comfort, so that way we could then display our soft side, but also be able to be that backbone. And it's not just being the backbone, you want the entire person, that entire whole concept. So we want us to be established, and we want you to be established. So that way we have a better and stronger foundation, regardless of money, education, and stuff like that. Yes, that's important.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to start no project with a 40-year-old man who's 5'2" and say, yeah, this is this is where we at. I'm just gonna settle with this. That's not happening. Because like you said, nowadays with society, we have the resources and everything else that we both can elevate on. So it's about the drive, it's about security, it's about comfort, it's about the foundation, it's about healing, and it's about going against the odds of these stereotypes of saying what we really want. Now, on the fact of your intimacy being suppressed, yeah,
Hmm.
you got all these toys and stuff, but the nothing's better than the touch of another being.
Hmm.
Whether it's with your lifelong partner, if we wanting to stay single, that's fine. But we're always going to want that touch. You have to have that, because that's part of our spiritual and mental health. You have to have that touch. You just
Right,
have
right.
to.
I agree 100%. So, you brought up the thing about security, and I understand that women definitely want to be secure emotionally and financially and physically. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And a lot of people feel like that I go a little hard on the women, but we got to be hard on the men too, because we have men, we can complain about women all we want to, but we also have to be in a position to where we can provide, where we can provide that stability, that leadership. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that's lacking in our community is that a lot of our men don't know how to be men. They were never
That
taught.
part.
Yeah.
And fathers being absent from the household, right?
Mhm.
That plays a big part in it because in other cultures, they honestly they laugh at us for having the problems that we have. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because the fathers are not in the home.
Yeah.
The fathers provide structure, discipline, and
Mm-hmm.
like you said, all of that security. And then a lot of women are in their masculine because they've had to be, and they don't know anything else, and they've been raised to say I don't need a man or to be strong, independent, and everything like that. And then most of our men have been raised by single mothers. Therefore,
Yeah.
they don't know how to be in the masculine.
And
And
that
go ahead.
before I lose my thought, I don't want to cut you off, but I think that's a big part of the men today is because the men, their fathers weren't in the house, and then their moms were imparting into them what they thought a man was supposed to be, right? So they was grooming them to be what they think a man should be, and it's like a man has to raise a man. A woman can't do it by herself. She can raise him up to be respectable, but it has to be some kind of male figure there to shape him along, whether it be some kind of mentor in school, an uncle, a big cousin, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be the father, because certain situations come along, right? Maybe the father passed away, so I'd still think that it takes a man to raise a man. So, and that's what I think. When you take the fathers out of the house, man, you got a generation of men who were raised by women who had some kind of grudge against the men that they were dealing with. So they was
Mhm.
teaching these men growing up now, no, and then the women dealing with all this other stuff. They're raising all these kids by themselves. Um, they got to deal with all the stresses of life without the men there, and so emotionally they might not be there for those boys like they need to be, right? I think a
Mhm.
lot of that plays a lot of different things plays into the way that the man that we have now. Because I don't count myself as that type of man. I even though I had both parents, I was raised in the deep south. So regardless, I grew up around men who, even if my dad wasn't there, they were gonna stay on my tail to, nah, bro, you need to do this. I had men outside of my dad that was telling me, nah, you could be better than that. You need to go and do that. You shouldn't be out there with them. You go and do that. So it's like, you know, I really think it's that disconnect of the generation where they took the men out of the household, whether it be from prison or drugs or whatever. They took those men out right when we were coming out of Jim Crow and all that. We really didn't have any direction anyway because we were dealing with that, slavery and Jim Crow. And right after that, they take the men out of the house. And now you got this women that got to deal with raising the house by herself. I think that destroyed a generation after that. I think it was by design, but that's another conversation. But I think that destroyed these men now. And it's like that plays into another area why women are choosing to stay single is because now I won't deal with that. But it's like
Mhm.
it's hard to put the blame on the men because it's like, okay, your mom was the one that raised these men. The dad wasn't there. You got to deal with those women that raised them to be like that. But then too, it's like, okay, but the men weren't there. They failed too. So it's like it's just deep. When we get to talking about the mental state of the black community, as to why we still at odds with each other, and can't come together, can't seem to get it right. Yeah, I just didn't want to lose my train of thought, man. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good, and you're absolutely right, spot on with everything you said because I'm actually in that situation where my father died when I was young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I still had those uncles,
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather that helped keep me in line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just like you, today, our society has become so soft and so sensitive, and it used to take everybody to help raise kids. Now, nobody wants anybody else to say anything to the kids, even
Yeah,
if you're a step parent coming
yeah,
into a situation. You don't have full reign to discipline that child and say anything. Oh, wait, that's not your child. Oh, you can't hit that. That's not your child. You can't spank them. You know what I'm saying? That I think that plays a part. We've lost a big part of that too, and uh, I feel like society has created this fear of men that's been passed
yeah,
down, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not just, because it's not whatever fear that's been passed down that women have had. It is not fair, because we've been taught that a lot of those traumas are the majority when they're not.
yeah,
Those situations, not belittle, y'all know what I'm trying to say, belittling the
Yeah.
situation. I know things happen, but that's not the norm. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? We know, domestic violence happens, but it's not so much the norm. And I believe it's been taught to be that way, and women have been taught and passed down to have a fear of men. Oh, well, men only want one thing. They're not going to do right by you. All they're going to do is break your heart. They're not going to do, men ain't this, men.
yeah,
And when you've grown up hearing all of that stuff, you're going to begin to regurgitate it when you become of age. And that's
mm-hmm,
always going to be in the back of your mind, regardless. And that's another reason why we need therapy. Black
yeah,
people need therapy. Antoinette, go ahead.
You know what? I wholeheartedly agree with everything that we've touched. And like RJ said, it's dealing with what society, what our government, what our ruling party, quote unquote, has established,
mm-hmm,
that has broken us up. And it's in books. The blueprints have been out there. We have the Reaganomics. We have, when we tried to act back with the Black Panther Party and trying to
yeah,
reorganize
Black
the
Messiah,
influence and reconcile our communities. And what happened? That blueprint that we're not supposed to know of because we're not supposed to be able to read, right? Even though we
Right.
created arithmetic and writing, etc. But again, that's another story. Um, and the fear of, like we said, JD, of passing down trauma. So when we look at our men being the secured figures, and we are talking about step parents also in discipline, the fear is that all these suppressed feelings, because sometimes because we have not gone through therapy, we don't know the skeletons in the closet of the step parent that sexually abused them. So therefore, as a new parent or what have you, or part of the village, they are the ones that are now going to execute discipline, right, on our children, but it's going to be a discipline that is abusive. And we are then causing this chain reaction of fear onto our children for generations and generations to come. So, yes, that would also entail the trust of women not wanting to have anybody else in the household when we are having all these children, whether they're ours, whether it's due to family member um, passing, and we're adopting the children and we're still having to raise them on our own, and it's not due to uh, faults of our own. It's fault of the blueprint and why we are staying divided, because we're not sitting up here having these conversations with one each another. And if we are having these conversations, we're not doing it therapeutically. So
Mm,
again, like we've said before, therapy has to happen, and it's something that we have to receive from each other, because then when we hear that word, we're always on the defense to be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not about to divulge that information with these people. I don't know these people, but you don't know Sally Moo down the street. but you gossip everything else, or you don't know Rick on the basketball court, but y'all still saying how, oh, my old lady, this, that, and the other. So why can't we do this on a professional standpoint so we could release the chains, the unforeseen damages that have been put across our legacies, and get free from that and exude the excellence that we have been created to do as a foundational piece, both man and woman and man, whoever you choose to be, whatever. At the end of the day, we all need to get these skeletons out of the closet and get this therapy going, so that way our village can then be stronger, so our lineages can help out and being single can cease.
Right, and I'm really big on legacy and things of that nature these days. But one thing that you said that I want to piggyback on about the therapy and the passed down traumas, we don't know how to separate what's been passed down to us and have our own experiences. Just because your mother and father had a bad marriage and you saw them arguing and bickering all the time, that doesn't mean your situation has to be like that. And with these kinds of conversations, when you become of age, if you're able to have that conversation with your parents, hey, have that conversation. Hey, why was it like this? Why was it so much fighting? I want to learn how to be better. And instead of sweeping everything under the rug and us getting offended by everything and taking everything so personal, we need to learn how to break the trauma instead of passing down the trauma. Because it's you would be surprised at the number of people that you would talk to that say they will never get married or don't want a relationship just because of what they've seen growing up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that might be an excuse or a cop out, but I mean it is true. Just because somebody else broke their leg playing football, that doesn't mean that's going to be my experience playing football. Because some people get injured along the way, some people don't. And then even the people that seem like they have everything together on the outside with the relationship, behind the scenes, they've gone through some things too and had to grow and work together and give each other, some kind of grace. We're too quick. Another thing, I think we're too quick, and we about to bring my boy on. I think we're too quick to kick people to the curb, to say what we not gonna deal with, what we want to deal with, and everybody needs a little grace. I'm gonna bring up my boy Wind E. McWilliams. What's up, man? Man, where your mic at? We can't hear you that well.
Yeah, I think this.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Hear you, my boy. Well, I think that's a big thing that we need to practice in the Black community is unlearning. A lot of this stuff that we've been taught by our parents and grandparents. That it's, for me, in my success, I consider myself successful. But for me and my success, man, a lot of it happened after I unlearned a lot of the things that were taught to me. And I was able to elevate myself in life, right? So I had to, like I said, even spiritually, man, you unlearn these things that have been passed down, and then you go in it and try and figure it out yourself. And if it makes sense to you, it makes sense to you, right? So that's been one of the biggest takeaways as far as, when I noticed things turned around. It was like after I had a real conversation with myself and was like, hey, what's going on? A lot of it was just things passed down from me that I was just taking and regurgitating and not going and seeking it out myself to try and figure out, okay, if it worked for this person, let me see if it can work for me. Because obviously, I didn't grow up the richest person. We struggled. My family struggled. So some kind of way, what they were doing didn't really work. And if I'm gonna be more than what they were, then I got to do it a different way. I can't do it their way. As far as families too, divorces or whatever. I look at it like, if my parents were ever to get divorced, why did they get divorced? Let me try and do it a different way. Let me build on what y'all, even though it was a failure in some people's eyes, I can build on top of that and then taking it to my marriage and then try and make it work with, you know, whoever my mate may be. But you know, I think like we were just saying, it's just unlearning those generational things that were passed down. And a lot of those things, man, if you go and research it, a lot of those stuff is old, man. This stuff isn't new. This stuff we've been dealing with, man. So it's like, now that these blinders are coming off of us, everybody's seeking knowledge. And it's like, you know, relationships too, man. That's one of the biggest things, man. Unlearning what we've been taught, man. All those generational traumas and stuff that we were just talking about. Seeking therapy. Me personally, I haven't been to therapy or anything either. I've been in the military with these other two men, and they probably made us a little more crazy. Well, all of us, we've been in the military, so it probably made us a little more crazier. But it changed my thought pattern, being around different people, different society, you know, people with different thought patterns, or, you know, because I grew up in the Deep South, and it's just me and my cousin there, we like one big family. But once I got in the military, I was able to see different things. And then deployment too, got it on the deployment, went on a different side of the earth. And it's like, wow, you know, it's so much more than what we've been taught back home. And it doesn't just center around us, you know, it's way bigger. And these people are living and these people are thriving. Like, why can't we as a Black community? Right. So, yeah.
Right.
It's my thoughts on that.
McWilliams, have you been listening to, I refuse to call you Wendy.
Wendy.
Man, have you been listening to the conversation, man? What are your thoughts?
I just tuned in. I was on that grill, but I just heard RJ. I want to piggyback off that, right? So a lot of folk, like he said, all we got to go off is what we've been introduced to, like, by our parents, right? But of course, the stuff they went through won't work. Look what they were given and the opportunity they was given. Like, we can get a house with a VA loan.
Yeah.
They were denied that. We got so many more opportunities. They worked with hell. And even though it looked flawed, when we was growing up, we didn't know it. Yeah, I didn't know it.
Not at all.
Like you said, we was poor. I never knew I was poor until I got older. Never knew. I used to love eating breakfast for dinner. Loved it.
Man,
South Smith.
What you say?
I told that up.
Right.
Now I'm like, okay, I see a difference, but so I respect the older generation for going what they had to go through. But a lot of, like, let's say females or maybe dudes, but females will go through like, oh, I can't go through what my mama went through. You ain't built like your mama. Your mama was tough. You ain't tough. You go with the wind and with the next liking or posting, and her mom was family, raising your tail for you to be okay and holding down the house. We got too many options now, which is a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Because if all you got to eat is the basic necessities, you're going to grow up fit and strong, right? If you got Golden Corral at every corner of your life, you're going to be fat. You got too many choices. And you're going to eat it. You got to be controlled, disciplined, whatever. So that's how I go with this relationship thing to me. It's like, be disciplined, you know, have some kind of solid foundation and go from there. That's my piece.
Yeah.
Right.
You become complacent.
It's
all about complacency. And this Pop-Tart. Just give me what I got. Give me what you need. Give me what you got. Let's go.
Yeah, people aren't willing to put in the work. That's just like I said a minute ago. We got to be better at giving people grace because nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? If you know,
patience.
Yeah, patience. Exactly. People are ready to break up because somebody left their drawers on the floor. Just pick them up and go on.
I yawned in the middle of the night and got broke up with. You disrespected me. I apologize. My body yawned. I didn't know.
But it happens. So check this out. Let me throw this in there. and I got a couple of little videos I want us to react to. But let me another reason why I believe that women are single. Check this out. I got confirmation on this today talking to some ladies at work. A lot of women, you ladies are afraid of a good man. And I do not understand what that is coming from.
I do.
I had a lady tell me, "Oh my goodness, I've never had anybody plan a date for me, tell me what to be, what time to be there, what to wear. Oh my goodness, you're just the type of guy I've been waiting on, and da da da. And I don't know how to act, but I'm scared." And she tried to come up with every reason to make me out to be somebody who I wasn't. Just like McWilliams said, he young and got broke up with. I blinked wrong and almost got kicked to the curb.
You almost got
And
shot.
what is it? What is it that scares ladies about actually getting a good guy? I don't understand.
Can I break it down real quick?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You make more money, right? If you make more money, you think you're better than me. If you're solid on your thoughts, like, hey, we're gonna eat here, we're gonna do this, you're controlling me. See what I'm saying? It's always a problem when the good dude is the good dude and he has all those traits. It's always, hey, you trying to be over me, you better than me. That's what I go through. My salary ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
Right.
You gonna provide
If
regardless.
I say what we gonna eat, you don't know, and I say we're going to KFC, is that control? No, but it's always a fight. A lot of women want Jody, right? They want that dude he may be a handsome fella, he may be whatever. Dude, sorry, and he need a mama, and a lot of
Yeah.
women love that position of telling, dude, when I was broke and ain't had shit, all the women it was nice, except I wasn't nice because I was a dude. I'm like, I'm a man, I need to be in a better position. As soon as I got that degree, got my money up, got the house, everything, dude, you seen my house, Jill. When you would think if somebody come to my house, they'll be like, oh man, it's amazing. No, they come in, your blind's crooked.
Man, what you say?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like,
Who
your
are you
eyes crooked.
surrounding yourself with? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think I was looking at the dictionary. I think they call them Tatianas.
Tatiana's? Yeah.
No, I'm just playing, but no, it's
But for real though.
you know how it is. I'm sure you know them folk. You know them folk.
But here's the thing though. If women are putting all these demands on men, and when they meet somebody who is all of that, number one, I don't think they know how to deal with it. Number two, I think it has something to do with insecurities within themselves
Man,
too.
women are extremely insecure.
Right. And I believe this is just me. I could be wrong. I believe a lot of women want something to hold over a man simply because women don't want to be cooperative and submissive.
So I'm gonna give you the real answer. So we got screwed by redlining and stuff like that back in the day, right? Like when you had to move into those project houses or government houses where the dude couldn't be there, right?
Mm.
So the dude was a little boy back then. So you went from the JJ Goodtime daddy to like dudes just around the way, right? So a lot of us can attest to this. A lot of women grew up in a household, even though the dude in public seemed like the dude, the mama wore the pants in that house.
Yeah.
The mama talked to that dude like that, and he was no good. So when they see you, they critiquing you from the jump. And the reason I can say that, my grandma, like growing up, granddaddy was the man. But when I got older, I realized maybe mama was the man. He might have had the bills, but mama is rough.
Mm-hmm.
And I catch myself critiquing people, not critiquing like that, but I catch myself talking like mama sometimes. I'm like, nah, if you're going to talk like that, ain't nobody going to be with you.
Right.
So I can see if I even slip up, I can understand if women do that too.
Yeah.
Antoinette, come on with it.
You know it. So there's insecurities on both levels. And the thing is, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because if you just pick in the bottom of the barrel, of course you're gonna get your Tatianas, and you're not gonna find that balance in Cardi and Body and
Oh, hell.
everybody else. You're not gonna find that
I'm
balance.
talking about
And like we
Thelma.
were saying, right, and like we were saying before, it's all about the security, the health, the wealth, the success, the mental, the physical, the spiritual. And at the end of the day, it's not about being submissive, it's about being balanced. Okay,
Amen.
because if I'm not balanced, then I'm going to be accepting and complacent to the foolishness. So if
Mhm.
I'm just yawning and you just getting on my nerves, we're not on the same page. We are creating a different level that's not magnetic. So that means you ain't the one. Because
Preach.
if I am with a man that is saying, "Hey, baby, I went ahead, I picked this little outfit out, I got my little outfit to match. You lock, I'm the key, whatever. I'ma sport
I'm,
that because we
I'm
going
down
out
with
hand
that.
in hand together."
I'm down with that.
Now, at the end of the day, if we gonna be doing tit for tat, then this ain't gonna work. And you need to realize that tit for tat is not a great relationship
Tit for
that you
tat is
need
the
to
kid.
move forward with. This is not a game
Mm.
of tic tac toe. This is a game of building a foundation and being an influence for this village that we are rebuilding. Period.
Mm.
And the insecurities, I need to be able to have that trust that I'm gonna bounce this insecurity off to you. Okay, I'm at work. These little biddies over here on this foolishness, they baby dad is doing this, that, and the other. I need to come home and be like, all right, baby, look, we got 15 minutes, you got 15 minutes, I got 15 minutes. Let's just brain dump this foolishness and then we let it go. If you can't find somebody that equals you and builds you back up to support you on that same level, then of course you're going to be coming up with all these crazy, complacent individuals that are not that are not up to par.
I
And
hear
then yes, they
shade.
retract back to what Big Mama and them was doing, because that wasn't being receptive. And that's what, the like we said before, brings us back to the blueprint, that all we're doing is falling in line with that blueprint. We got to go
Yeah.
against the grain. And now that we all are
Mhm.
getting tapped back into where we came from and the excellence that we are, this is why we have to wash back and take those Tatianas on the side and be like, okay, so you have these long nails, you have this map in your hair. Do you know what tribe that comes from? Because everything that we
The whole
do
tribe.
comes from, it ain't no whole tribe, doggone.
No, I seen them. I seen them. They
Now
out there.
they have the whole tribes that are very creative. However, their creativity came from an actual tribe from the motherland. Okay, so,
Mm.
and then when you think about it, when you look at all our tribes back home, they're matriarchs. So of course, what we're doing is Hollywoodizing and misconstruing that of which we came from. And we are making it Americanized, which is incorrect, because everything that America
It's
and
McDonald's.
colonizers has
McDonald's.
touched has become negative, and we got to flip the script back to where it was. So it's not about holding over no grudges. You just need to get into a whole different section
That is
of
true.
the wall. Get someplace else, because this holding over each other's heads and all this foolishness, that ain't the one for you. And it's not that we're scared about it. It's that I want that, but we don't have the we don't have that that backup from our homegirls to be like, yeah, girl, go ahead and write that man that 4-page letter like Aaliyah, and then spray a little bit of whatever you
Yeah.
got on there, because you have to be. It has to be receptive. She
Mhm.
can't just do everything, and it's not about being scared. She just don't know. Go with your instinct. Go with your gut. That's what you have it for. And if that man is not receptive to what you giving, and you try and you try and you try, and that goes for the men too. You try and you try, move on. You need to move around. Stop getting complacent and stuck. That's what the problem is.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
From,
yeah.
Louisiana.
What you say?
Are you from Louisiana?
I am. All
I
the
thought
way.
so. I'm like, I hear that accent.
She be trying to hide it. She be trying to hide it, but
Colin,
it
where
slipped.
where you find that at, Colin?
Huh?
Where you find that at?
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry. Now you asking too many questions.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We were in a military training back in March together, and we've been staying in touch ever since. Matter of fact, she's Air Force. So yeah, we've been staying in touch.
Make cakes in the Air Force. I know about the Air Force.
Right. So yeah, we've been staying in touch ever since then, and I'm so glad that we did.
What I can say, what she said, that's amen to that. I can 100%.
Right. She just preached a sermon. But now, here's the difficulty. Now, I was telling my friends at work the same thing earlier. Like, y'all are over here. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like the women we come across are over here, but they pretend like they over here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's my thing. That's my thing. Like it's like she's preaching right now, right?
Right.
How many of them, like, I know we ain't with the long lashes and nails. How many of them dressed like that be talking? They be talking that good game. But then when it hit the fan, it's all the same.
Right. True that. So check this out. I came across a couple of videos on TikTok, and let me just say this. I got on TikTok just because of videos like this. And I want to bring this up. This is from TikTok user Dana Dane 1987. And I got two of them I want to play. We're going to react to. Here's the first one. Oops, sound is off.
My comment section complaining about modern women and how you want women to be back like it was in the good old days. Well, guess what? Them days wasn't good. All right. The truth of the matter is y'all want that dynamic back because it was only beneficial to y'all. It wasn't for the women. Those women were just baby making machines, popping out babies left to right, house slaves, cooking and cleaning all day for a man who was at work, working for the man who would just come home and take out his frustration on her physically and mentally. Not to mention the kids that he was having outside that household that she had to turn a blind eye to and pretend like it wasn't happening because she couldn't do anything about it. She had no rights. She couldn't afford to get up and take all of them kids and leave him. Therefore, she had to just sit up in that household and put up with whatever he was giving her. Nothing about that sounds appealing to me. Nothing about that sounds like anything that I would want. I'm proud to be a modern woman. I'm happy that whenever I'm not happy, I can get up and leave at any point. Y'all men keep coming back in my comments.
All right, ladies first. Antoinette, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I have to agree with her on that because call a spade, right? The way the dynamics was set up back in those days, it's basically how it is now. If you really look at it, it depends on which group you are introduced to. Are you introduced to the ones that just want to continue to utilize welfare and the EBT and keep having these children and then accepting the fact that Jody and whoever else is having children at X, Y, and Z house and then staying here and doing and roaming wherever he wants to. And then you done gave up school and everything else and you don't have any additional resources. Your mama don't want to help you. So you stuck. So now everybody has these grudges and you back to being stuck. No woman wants that. And that's why they staying single like that. Going back to the days of when the men was just coming in and yeah, you tired. You're dealing with what the man been dealing with you. You can't advance because you are a man of color. you keep dealing with these brick walls, but then you want us who's dealing with these children, dealing with everything else, to multitask and then also be in your shoes with these children and then be the lady when you're at home and be your comfort. That ain't gonna work. That's why we have so many issues now. So no, I definitely agree with her.
Okay. McWilliams, you next.
So what? From what I got from the video, I told you I don't hear BS, so I ain't hear none of it. Yeah, go to RJ because I ain't hear none of that. If any girl talking like that, I ain't buying that car.
RJ, cutting dry from Wendy McWilliams. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the way that she's looking at it, right, is she's thinking that us men today want to go back to the system that they had back in the day, which I don't want to be in that system, because not only were the women oppressed, us as black men were oppressed. Who wants to go back to that? That ain't what we. So when we say that we want our women to be submissive, we're not talking about that system, right? That broken system of just coming out of slavery under Jim Crow, where we still getting our back broken down. That's not what we're talking about. So her points that she's bringing up were, we were punching bags, we just baby making machines. We don't want to go back to that. We want to advance, but we still want to take on our natural role as men, as providers, as the leaders of the household. We still want to take on that natural role, but we don't want to go back to that old system. No one wants to go back to that. Probably the ones that don't look like us. That was beneficial to them, but that wasn't beneficial to us. We don't even want to go back to it as black men. So it's like her point, like I said, her points that she was brought up, it didn't apply to me because, you staying single because of those reasons. That's not what I'm here for. You may be talking to somebody else that don't look like me, but I don't want that either. So, like I said, the whole points are invalid to me because, like I said, that's not what I want. So I don't agree with it.
I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said. What was the women's options back then? Be submissive and barefoot if you didn't have an education. Make babies, that's true. Help around the house, that's true. What's your alternative? Go work at the White House or the white person's house, get raped, get treated like dirt, have light-skinned babies. Those were your options. We will beat, you will beat. That was the options back then. Here's a new age scenario of back then. My homeboy just got a job. He about to be making $400K in 2 weeks. His wife ain't gonna work. She will be a baby making machine. The reason why? Because she want to start a business at home, quit her job, and she want to make business work at home. What if my girl made $400K and she told me I could work from home? I'd do it. I don't see a problem. It's like it's situational, right? Am I lying? Am I tripping? It's situational. It's like we're not back in those days, so it shouldn't be like that. Like RJ said, the men don't look at you like that. And if you're in a position where you can, if a woman can be free and do whatever she wants, that's cool. If a dude in that position, that's cool. But like that chick we just seen on the video, she's looking at like back in the day. Them days gone.
True.
Them days gone. We are still oppressed. We are still under, but it ain't like that. Ain't nobody burning crosses in our yards. Not every day, at least. But you know what I'm saying.
Now, that's the point of understanding. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that is the part of understanding her point of view. You have to look at where she's coming from and understanding what submissive means to her. She may only understand that what she expressed is what she knows about being submissive and being the baby maker. She may not know the extent of the history of submissiveness or the history is like we said, the Black men not being able to promote and dealing with all the foolishness and getting beat and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when we say, and to back up, and when I say I agree about it, because I could see where she's coming from that point of view. She may not understand the extent of where we're tapping into, but from her point of view, it makes sense because she may not comprehend the extent of what submissive means with this particular topic.
Mm-hmm. Now, you all bring up some very, very interesting points, but my issue with this is that might be what she saw, like you said, but it's damaging at best because I think that video has 75,000 plays on it. She's giving off a thought process that others might not have, but decide to take on. Am I making any sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
And to go off of that, I don't know of any men, especially men over here. I don't know of any men who are waking up and saying, I want to beat on my woman. And I want to keep my woman barefoot and pregnant, and I want her to do what I say, not have no opinion, and keep playing it. I don't know any men like that. Submissive, being submissive and submission, all that means is another word for being cooperative and letting the man take that role because it's natural. Again, when I was talking to my friends at work today, telling them about how how I do dates or whatever. Hey, I'm going to this place at this time. I want you to join me. Show up here. XYZ. And they were like, "Oh yeah, that's great," because sometimes we just don't want to have to think about everything. Sometimes we want the man to think for us, and then that can allow us to be more feminine and rest in his masculine, right? But on the other hand, if you listening to this chick, that's oppressive. Or if you listening to somebody else, that would be misogynist. And I need let me finish this thought real quick, and let me be really, really clear. The word misogyny and misogynist are very, very strong words. And I don't know any, look it up, Google, Webster's Dictionary, whatever. Misogyny is a hate or contempt for women. And on the lesser side, a prejudice for women. But the clause A of that definition says a strong hate or contempt for women. I don't know any black men that hate women. All the black men that I know want to get with black women and want to start a family. And that's why I say this is damaging at best, because anybody who might want to work with a black man to get together and build families might see this and say, "Oh, you know what? You right. A man is just gonna beat on me and want me to have babies."
Well, they don't have common sense.
I can't say that. So
I mean,
take the black man profile. The news. We're criminals. We're thugs, dope dealers, whatever. News push that all day, right? A black woman, they just adding to that totem pole. We, as a real black dude, we can endure that because we know our queen is just around the corner, and we'll find her, right? Y'all go ahead. I forgot my thought.
Yeah, it's all good. Go ahead, Antoinette.
I forgot my thought.
Okay, so when I say the common sense, because common sense is not so common. It's just not. So when you listen to, it depends on when you listening to this woman, I was gonna say this child, she's somebody's child. Okay. You could either be coming out of an abusive relationship, you could be coming from dancing in the rain, whatever. It depends on when you're watching her. And again, understanding where she's coming from. If she's not able to elaborate, what do you mean about being submissive? What do you mean about just popping out children? Because at the end of the day, if I want to have children, I'm going to have these children, period. And at the end of the day, I'm also going to make sure I'm hustling and I have multiple streams of income because I want things and I want my children to have things. And if my parents and my elders are still alive before they transition to be ancestors, they're going to have things come hell or high water. So it depends on who's looking at this. Are we looking at the glass half empty or half full?
So I've remembered my point now. I guess I think I do. Was it submissive? Submissive. So folks take the word submissive so wrong, right? Like submissive. Oh, I'm just gonna be a slave, girl. To anybody out there in the world, if you were to ever submit to me, and my meaning of submitting means if you were ever to be down for me, and you love me unconditionally, and you willing to ride, you got the keys to the kingdom. Like when you say you submit, I don't even know the adjective. I do whatever's greater than that for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jeff said, cooperation. If you do that submittance to me, girl, we writing up you the number one person in my will. You can cash my check. You can do whatever. It's like, girl, a lot of girls do take that the wrong way. But that's not their fault because a lot of dudes abuse that power. It's like just like in the military. The reason why they got them rules is because somebody messed it up for the rest of us. So that's how it is, right?
Yeah, I got you. Thank you, Quentin, for your comment. He says this is the conversation that we need to have more often in our community. Amazing viewpoints. Thank you so much, Quentin.
Yeah, that's my cuz, man.
So I want to come into that. I want to come into that.
Go ahead.
I hate when we specify our community because I know other communities are terrible. Like take the people from the mountain of Caucasus, right? Let's take them. They'll ride what they do for financial gain and lie on the world, hell and high water, just not to get left off financially. They'll say you raped them. They do could have just beat them over the head with a frying pan, right? I don't ever see them talking about their community like we do. We talk about our community like we are still slaves or niggas. And it's like, no, this message need to be told to every man. Take care of your woman, period.
Yeah, but see,
Women
I think
take care of your man. Period.
I think for me, I think our community really needs work the most. I'm a part of it, right? So if I'm looking at,
we got look, if I'm here on a boat,
right? If I'm looking at, okay, we look at it from a world spectrum. If we looking at problems in the United States, I'm not gonna. That's like me looking. That's like me saying Black Lives Matter, but no, all lives matter. Like I understand, but we got some problems that we need to take care of first before we can try and heal somebody else.
Everybody got problems they need to take care of.
I know it, but I'm saying as a black man, as a black person, black woman, I'm gonna look to us first to try and fix us first before I try and fix somebody else. That's just how I'm wired.
The reason why I'm wired a little different is because of military exposure, right? So I'm black in America. So I'm thinking Kunta Kinte, like all that bullshit, right? I met an African prince that was talking some greasy stuff to me. And I'm like, brother, you from Africa? He was like, yeah. I'm like, ain't it lions, tigers, and bears? He was like, nigga, at the zoo.
Yeah,
right.
He dropped off his when he came to the military. Like, okay, so when I came to the military, I came with my clothes and my faith and my spirit and like everything.
Right.
When he got dropped off at the military, he left his driver his Benz. That showed me black people. Like this US shit, this I'm so sorry for myself. That's what we raised with. When I saw this Prince, I'm like, that's us. We need to get off this kumbaya shit and get on this king shit. ASAP.
And I see where you're coming from.
ASAP.
And Quentin said truly understandable. But I always say our community because we need to start with our community first.
Oh no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that's what
that's gospel.
Right. We got to start. Like you said, we got to start within, then move outward. And you know, everybody, like you said, everybody has problems, right? But the problems in the black community, I mean, I know it's some different kind of white people out there, but I mean, look at our culture and then look at theirs, or look at the Asian culture. The stuff that we subscribe to, they would never let their people subscribe to.
I know, right?
Never, ever.
Like our culture do rap music, and you know we talk that shit, but they own people. So I agree with you. We would never do what they do.
Right.
What did you mean about the kumbaya? I need you to.
I didn't mean kumbaya because kumbaya is actually come by here. So I'm sorry that I said that.
Right. Okay.
I didn't mean that, but I was hoping to, you know.
I get it, but I just
my point is instead of talking about community, we do need to check on our community first, right? However, it's like just because my house is disorganized, don't mean I can't tell my community how to organize. My house might be janky. I can't get my daughter, my mama, they might don't listen to me. That don't mean I can tell other folks how to act, right? But most folks will be like, well, your daughter and your mama don't do that. Okay, they don't. But it still don't stop me from telling you what, you know, to be right. And when folks look at our community like we so pitiful, we got about 80 years of reading. And we had the first black man as president. 80 years. Reading. President. I'm tired of us talking about us like we talk about our experience in the USA because all they give us in school is slave to now.
So whose fault is that?
If you go to other countries, they got monuments of black people in their countries that ain't black. But they got us there, right?
Yeah.
So I want to shift the narrative is like, let's go past these past 100 and whatever years or 400 years, and let's get into the crux of who we were. Kings, queens, Moors, whoever. Talk about that. Don't just stop it at Bobo to selling dope that somebody gave him the dope to sell. Because I don't hear nobody talking about Reaganomics or none of that that actually put the dope there. We just talk about Rico or Tyrone. We don't talk about who got it there. Chicago. We don't talk about the trains that were just left there standing with the guns and dope. We don't talk about that. We talk about Tyrone selling dope and say our community. Our community is great. Our community got people up here right now with headphones talking good knowledge, despite our situations. Single parent, dope in the 80s. RJ, I'll tell you a real life experience that like fucked me over. When RJ sent me a picture, what was about a year or two ago, and this nigga was like, "This my new house. I bought this. I see what you was doing, and that inspired me." Am I lying?
Nah, you right.
And when I seen this house, I bought this house. Because I was like, I'm slipping. That's what my brothers do. That's king shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And like I said, guys like us, we're over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
But then you got other cats that's, you know, not they looking at you some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a house or whatever. I even had a lady try to downplay me because I'm a homeowner. Like, oh, it's better to lease. Why? Wanted me to get rid of my house.
Well, she probably had knock knees and club feet.
No, I wouldn't say all
In the
that.
wrong pot.
I wouldn't, but that's what I was saying earlier though. Some ladies pretend like they over here, but they really over here.
And that's
You know
my
what I'm
problem.
saying?
It's not like I'm going after Tatiana.
Right,
Tatiana
right.
You're
ended up
going
being the-
after perpetrators. You're allowing perpetrators into your kingdom.
Well, Miss Antoinette, I haven't met you yet.
Well, you know what?
Maybe that's the problem.
Listen, and those alike. So welcome to the crew. Said, let's get you introduced.
What we find? I gotta come to Louisiana.
Well, we are not in Louisiana, however.
So I'm lost. I'm lost already.
No,
Yeah,
but hey,
somebody
can I
might need
add-
to stay back after this go off.
Can I add in real quick? Because
Yeah.
not just going back into beyond 400 years. In order to get beyond 400 years, we have to start talking to our elders. And if we don't talk to our elders, that's where we're losing. And that's the biggest part because, you know, we just reached
glad you
what
said that.
100 years for Tulsa. You know what? And when I talk to some of my students and stuff, they didn't even. I always ask them. I say, "Do y'all know who the Rough Riders are?" And I'm not talking about DMX. And they never used to know. But now you even have people who are 63 years old that are just now learning about Tulsa. My grandfather and great grandmother escaped out of Tulsa. So history like that, we already know. Because why? Because I call my elders and I make it a point to call my living elders every weekend, whether they done had strokes, what have you. They know Antoinette. They know who I am and who my children and whoever surrounds me, they know and they recognize because we talk to them. And when they transition, we then gather the history and the knowledge, because if we tap back in beyond 400 years ago, because if we really want to get into it, that's why we're dealing with the foolishness of the mutants, because of their 300 years that are becoming to cease.
Here's my rebuttal.
What?
I talked to the ancestors, right? Here's the real issue. The reason why it's not so strong and prominent, the ancestors remember what happened to their ass when they spoke up. My grandparents know right now who in my city right now, Jeff Black, John Black, they know the Grand Wizards that's running the city. They told me don't say nothing. They remember them burning crosses. They remember the repercussions. That's why they tell me not to say nothing. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And so, I saved
I might say it here. I won't put it on my Facebook because I know my repercussions. I might not be here tomorrow if I say this tomorrow on my Facebook. So it's like I understand their gripe. They went through hell.
Absolutely.
That's why a lot of people don't stand up, because it's like, you know what's going to happen if you do talk the real. You do know what's going to happen.
Quiet.
Even if you make it through, you got problems that's coming. I got two babies. Well, I got one baby and one older child, but she's still a baby to me. I don't want nothing coming to them, and that's why everybody play it safe. My thing is, I don't care about that, but the law ain't for us, and times ain't for us, so you do got to play it smart. That's just the truth.
Man,
but you still need to give history. You still need to give the history. I'm not saying go on a blowhorn. I'm saying you still need to pass down that history because it is important, so we're not doing repeat and repeat.
Yeah.
We have to.
Right. Absolutely. Speaking of history, That's maybe not a great segue, but anyway,
I'm gonna slide in your D.
a good segue into this next video I want to play real quick, and we'll move on. Let me bring this up real quick. Y'all tell me what you think about this.
You say you loved him, but what?
I love him, but he loved Peggy done and he did me.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but I love you. I'm praying for your soul to be saved. I still love you. I don't care how you treated me. I love you.
Miss you, Danny. You was a good daddy.
Your soul rest in
Just didn't know where home was on Friday.
Oh my God.
Got that right.
What you say?
She
is crazy. What you say?
What did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Do I need to play it again?
Mhm.
All right, let me play it again.
I still love you. I don't care how you treated me. I love you.
Miss you, Danny. You was a good daddy.
Your soul rest in
Just didn't know where home was on Friday.
Oh my God.
Got that right.
What you say?
She
is crazy. What you say? You loved him, but what?
I love him, but he loved Peggy done and he did me.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but I love you. I'm praying for your soul to be saved. I still love you.
Did y'all get that time?
Mhm.
Now, the caption of that said the reality of old school marriages. But notice what she said. He loved Peggy more than he loved me, but I still love him. Okay. Let me just get y'all's take on that. We'll start with RJ. What's your take on what we just watched?
I still think like that older generation, man, they were broken. They went through something that mentally, physically, like they were a different type of people. Like, and because I personally witnessed my person that I grew up with. I thought he had a family that was my neighbor, but he had a whole family on the other side. And I was grown when I was privy to that information. And I know that it happened back in the day. But like I say, they went through something different. Their minds were like, I don't know. It's a different type of people that they were. And so she's taking the video with no context and putting it on the internet and trying to apply it to us men today that are actively trying to be, good fathers, good role models, good men, trying to rebuild our families. And I think that's like you were saying earlier, I think those videos without context are problematic because it puts that stigma on us, because you got an old black lady who's sitting there looking at a grave and it's an old black man in there. And so the world is looking at us as black men like we are those type of people. But it's like the society that we're in today as black men, I don't look at like that's too much work. Like I don't want two families. Like what? So I gotta No, that's way too much work. Come on, man. I gotta go ahead and bust my tail so I can provide for this. But the family that I got, the best of my ability, you think I'm gonna split that up? And no, I don't want to do that. That's way too much work, man. No. So, like I say, that video without the context is way problematic because it puts that stigma back on us. Mm-hmm. 3 generations down, we ain't got nothing to do with that. We look at that like that's foolish. But unless somebody come and have a conversation with us, you wouldn't even know it. You would just think, okay, that's just how they are. They got 3 families. What? Come on, man. That's not us.
He should have redug that thing and pushed it in it.
Come on, man. Is that your thoughts on it, man?
Final thoughts.
Antoinette, what you got for us?
I mean, RJ covered it really because nobody has time for that. And the fact that the older generations, like you said, is just broken. The mentality, they dealt with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. So it is what it is.
Right. And let me just throw my 2 cents in there. And I know it's getting late.
Yeah,
But
buddy.
yeah, it's getting late. But my issue with this is um I just like RJ said, I'm not seeing any black men, including myself, that are looking forward to starting one family and then wanting to have another one on the other side of town. I mean, my peace is too much for that. My peace means too much to me for that. And then I said it earlier on another call. The difference is between them back then and us now. People, our elders, like this lady we see on this cane, they did so much better with less than we doing with more. We have, but just imagine if we had the work ethic and a lot of the morals and the foundation that our ancestors had back then, if we had it now, with us having access to what we have access now, to us having access to therapy and to the tools that can help us grow. Just imagine prior to what was, I don't know, 19 before, I know definitely before 1980, that's when we started to see the marriage rates go down. The marriage, we were married at an 80% rate, and now women are filing for divorce at an 80% rate. And granted, I'm not trying to downplay what anybody has gone through, in situations of what everybody has seen. But again, I don't think that was the norm. I really don't think that was the norm. But yeah, good show tonight, y'all. I know I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm getting old, but we didn't even make it to the second topic tonight. But that's all right. We'll save it for next week.
That's what's up. That's what's
We'll
up.
save it for
Yeah.
next week. But hopefully next week, as long as my internet is working, hopefully we'll be back on our regular time Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we will be back on YouTube and in the Facebook group.
Hey, before we
Go
go,
ahead.
let Antoinette tell how her Instagram, how I can slide in on. Just let me know. I got my phone ready.
Well,
I
being
hear you,
that
man.
you've only gone through the Tatiana bucket,
No, I
just
haven't.
me.
Oh, but yeah, look,
Where you at?
you got to put up. So we're gonna be back hopefully regular time on YouTube and in the Facebook group. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate Quentin for all his comments, all his support. Thank you, RJ, Antoinette, and Wendy McWilliams. The link to the Facebook group is down in the description. RJ, you want something to shout out, man?
Nah, man, good conversation, Miss Antoinette. Hopefully you can join us again, man.
True.
We be needing that different female perspective.
That's right.
Cause we us three, we probably on the same page as thoughts. But we probably differ on some things, but as far as like
Well, at
relationships
least
and
me and
stuff,
you, RJ.
yeah. So we need that female perspective, man. And your talking points were right on point with the conversation that we had tonight, and it added so much value to this conversation. So,
Right.
hopefully you can come back.
Preach.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Antoinette,
I
you
love
want to
to.
shout out something? Say something to the people?
Well, I appreciate y'all accepting me, and I look forward to coming back. If y'all have me, I'll be here. Whenever you call, I'll be there.
Oh, you already know. Go ahead and make plans for same time next Tuesday night. Quentin says definitely we'll be tuning in next week. Great listening to y'all. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Quentin. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, keep commenting, and share the video. Let everybody know what we're doing over here. Wendy McWilliams, you got anything you want to shout out before we dip?
No, I appreciate everybody on the panel. JC, keep doing your thing. I love tuning in to what you got going on. RJ, you what's up? We already know what's up. Antoinette, we'll be announcing our engagement in the next couple of weeks, but it's all right. But I appreciate the show, JD.
That's what's up. Love and relationships. That's what we all about over here. You feel me? But I am your host, JD, aka Mr. December. Until next time, folks, we out.